So it's more Wonderkids that you want? Well, you've come to the right place because I've got another list just for you. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Frankly FM84 and in today's video I've got another list of Wonderkids that you should be looking at. So you may have seen the first two videos where I've already given out the names of 10 Wonderkids. Today I've decided to come back with another 5 that you can go out and buy and mould into your first team to help your team to success. Before we jump into the list though, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button to help the channel out. It's a big help if you do that. And any comments you may have, whether it be a player that you want me to look at or a player that you think is deserving of being in one of these lists, leave them in the box below and I will try and check as many of those out as I can. So, who wants to see who's on this list this time around? Let's find out. Here we go then. The first player on my list today is Joe Burke. He's a goalkeeper who currently plays for Stoke. He starts off the game as a 20-year-old, stands at 6'2", and his current ability is 120. You can try and buy him for 2.2 million, although I suspect that Stoke will be looking for a lot more. You can see by looking at his attributes that he starts off as a good goalkeeper anyway. He has good aerial reach, command of area, communication, handling, kicking, reflexes, and throwing. In terms of his mentals, he has good anticipation and bravery. Determination is high at 15. Teamwork, positioning, and work rate are all good too. And in terms of his physicals, he has good balance, jumping reach, natural fitness, pace, stamina. Strength might be a little bit low at 8. Might get bullied off the ball a little bit in terms of set pieces, but I think as a 20-year-old, that has already got room to improve. And when you take a cheeky little look at his goalkeeper technical stats, he has 11 for free kick taking and 11 in terms of technique. So if ever you're desperate and don't have a free kick taker, he could pop up and score from distance. So what we're going to do now is jump 4 years into the future and see what Joe Burke looks like as a player. And you can see he has moved to Aston Villa. He is now 23 years old and he's rated as a £20 million goalkeeper. His current ability has jumped up to 140. And when we look at his stats, you can see that his aerial reach is up to 16. His kicking is up to 16. He has good command of area, communication and handling. His reflexes are good and his throwing is good for distribution. In terms of his mentals, you've got good anticipation and bravery, composure, concentration, good positioning, teamwork and work rate. In terms of his physicals, he has got good acceleration and agility. He has good jumping reach, natural fitness, and he has good stamina. He's still a little bit on the short side for strength, only a 9 still, but I think that he should be okay if you're playing a good defence in front of him. If we go on and look at his 4-year stats, you can see that he left Stoke for £7 million to go to Aston Villa. But along his path of progression, he had a lot of games in the Championship where he played 3 full seasons for Stoke, achieving ratings of 7.01, 7.03 and 7.04. I think this is a player who is going to pop up on a lot of these lists in the next couple of months. He is a player who's really going to develop, and if he turns out like this in real life, England might have the future successor to Jordan Pickford. Number 2 on my list is Matteo Lovato. He is a central defender who plays for Verona. He starts off as a 20-year-old, stands at 6'2", and his current ability at the start of the game is 127. When we look at his stats, he begins off as a bit of a rough diamond. You can tell though that he has all the attributes you need for a strong central defender, with technicals of heading, marking, tackling. His mentals though are really good for a 20-year-old, with aggression, anticipation, bravery, composure, good leadership, positioning and work rate. When you look at his physicals, he's a player who is not going to be pushed off the ball easy, with good strength, stamina, pace, jumping reach, and I think he's set up to become an absolute worldie of a defender. If we jump forward 4 years to look at his progression, he is now signed for Juventus and his current ability has shot up to 151. He's 24 years old and now valued at £32 million. When you look at his technicals, they're still not great. His first touch, heading, marking, passing, tackling, and technique do jump out. But his mentals mean that he's going to be a really strong player in terms of aggression, anticipation, bravery, composure, leadership, positioning, work rate, teamwork, and vision. And then in terms of his physicals, he has 17 strength, 16 stamina, 16 jumping reach. And those physicals are some of the most solid I've seen for a centre-back in this game. If we look at his 4-year progression, you can see that he left Verona for £22 million to go to Juventus. Hasn't played as much football as his progression would state, but that is still quite impressive considering that he has only played 17 games for Juventus' first team. Solid average rating of 7.23 for his last season at Juventus, and in terms of his career overall, he has an impressive 7.27 average rating. Matteo Lovato is easily one of the best central defenders that I have seen at the age of 24. He still has plenty of room for improvement, and I think if you can get him, you should be snapping him up for your team. The next player on this list is Samson Tijani. He is a defensive midfielder who starts off the game at Hartberg on loan from Red Bull Salzburg. He's a name that I actually hadn't come across until it was dropped in the comments section of one of my previous videos. When we break him down, you can see he starts off as an 18-year-old who stands at 5'7". He starts the game valued at £600,000 and his current ability is 110. When we break down his stats, his technicals are decent, with dribbling, first touch, marking, passing, tackling and technique all standing out. His anticipation is 13, concentration is 13, determination, off the ball, positioning, teamwork, vision and work rate are all good too. In terms of his physicals, he's a very well-rounded physical player with acceleration, balance, jumping reach, stamina, pace and strength all working in his favour. He looks like a player who really needs to be moulded, but he's going to turn into a bit of a world beater. If we jump forward 4 years and have a look at his progression, he is now back at Red Bull Salzburg. He is 22 years old, and his stats actually haven't jumped out as much as I thought they would, but his current ability has jumped up to 133, and when we break it down, he still has good dribbling, first touch, marking, passing, penalty taking, tackling and technique. In his mentals, he has good anticipation, concentration, his positioning, teamwork, vision and work rate all stand out. In terms of his physicals, he hasn't really progressed in terms of the physicals, and he still has good acceleration, balance, pace, stamina and strength. And if we look at how his player progression worked out, he was on loan at Hartberg, played a full season there. He then went back to Salzburg, where he played in the first team, playing 26 games. He then went to Liefering and played in the 2 Liga, played 7 games there, before going back to Salzburg's first team, where he has broken back in properly and played 42 first team games, scoring 2 goals with 5 assists and scoring a 7.39 average rating. So if we go from that, rather than looking at the raw stats, you can see that there is a player there to be moulded, and once you get him in your team and get the best out of him, he will really start to produce. Next up on my list is Takfu Sakakubo. He's an attacking midfielder centre or midfielder right, or could even plug in as a striker. Starts off the game at Getafe on loan from Real Madrid and is valued at 6.5 million. He is 5'6", so a little bit on the short side to be a central midfielder, but I think he's a wonderful player anyway, so he gets away with that. You can see at the bottom he has actually been trained by Barcelona, so he has crossed enemy lines by playing for both Barcelona and Real Madrid. His current ability starts off at 132, and you can see straight away why he's been capped 7 times by the Japanese national team. He has good technicals for corners, crossing, dribbling, first touch, long shot, passing and technique is 15. In terms of his mentals, he has good anticipation, decisions, determination, flair, off the ball, vision, work rate and teamwork are all great. When you look at his physicals, he has good acceleration and agility, balance, he has pace and stamina, The only two things that really let him down are his jumping reach. So for a 5'6" player, you're not expecting much there anyway. And his strength. He may be pushed off the ball quite easily in the midfield, may get swallowed up in some games. But if he's at Real Madrid, they obviously rate him and think that that isn't a problem. We're going to push on 4 years into the future and see how Takfu Sakakubo progresses. And here he is now at Real Madrid, back in their first team. And he is 23 years old, rated at 15.5 million, and his current ability has gone up to 143. His stats have started to fill in everywhere, so he now has great dribbling, technique, passing, first touch, finishing. In terms of his mentals, his anticipation is 16, his vision is 16, his good teamwork and work rate, his flair, decisions, and concentration are good. In terms of his physicals, he still has good acceleration, his pace is okay, stamina is good, his agility and balance is good. His strength has gone up to 9, which means that he is progressing there, and probably there is a little bit more to come from him. But in terms of Japanese players, they're not always perceived to be the strongest players, but I think in terms of the positions that he plays, he will be okay in the centre of the midfield. When you look at his career path to get to where he is, he's been a bit all over the place. So he was out on loan at Getafe. He then went back to Real Madrid's second team, played 36 games there, scoring 15 goals and achieving an impressive 7.36 average rating. Stepped back up to the first team but didn't play any games. Then went back down to the second team, then back up to the first team. Then in the second team, he managed to play 2 games and got a 7.45 average rating, which means that his ratings look good in the second team, but he can't make that breakthrough into the first team. However, I think if you try and get your hands on him, take the plunge, mould him into a player that you want, I think this kid could go far in the game. The last player on today's list is Joe Gelhart. He starts the game in Leeds United's under-23 squad. He plays as a striker centre or an attacking midfielder. He is 18 years old at the start of the game and valued at £450,000. He starts off with a current ability of 107. If you look at his stats, you may not be overly impressed, but all the right attributes are in the right place to make a great striker of the future. He has good dribbling, finishing, first touch, passing and technique. In terms of his mentals, you've got good aggression, bravery, composure, flair, off the ball, teamwork, vision and work rate. And with his physicals, you can tell that he's a bit of a rough diamond. He has good acceleration, agility, balance, pace, stamina and strength. We are going to jump 4 years into the future and see how he develops as a striker. So in the year 2024, he's now 22 years old. He's valued at £18.5 million, and his current ability has gone up to 142. You can see that his stats have improved everywhere. Technical, now he has good dribbling, finishing and first touch, long shots, passing and technique. In terms of his mentals, he has good composure, off the ball, teamwork, vision, work rate, flair, determination. And in terms of his physicals, he has good acceleration, agility, balance, pace, stamina and strength. When we look at his progression path to see how he got to where he is now, he had a loan spell at Hull in the first season and he played some first team football in League One, playing 42 games, scoring 12 goals and getting a seasonal average rating of 7.13. He then went back to Leeds and chipped away at their first team, playing in the Premier League 13 times the first season, 16 times and 28 times, scoring a total of 15 goals across those seasons. And even though his average ratings don't look too good, I think he is a player who is still progressing and can only get better. I think you should go and try and sign Joe Gelhart, get him into your team, mould him into the striker or the attacking midfielder that you want, and he won't let you down. There we are then. That's another list of 5 Wonderkids that I think you should go and try and sign, plug into your team and help to develop. Mould them into what you want and help them flourish within your team. If you've enjoyed that, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up button to let me know that you're enjoying the content and you want to see more of this. Again, any players you think that I might have missed or ones you would swap out of my list for your own lists, please put them in the comment section down below. I'll try and get through some of them and add them to my future videos. But for this one, that's a wrap. And until the next one, thank you for watching, take care and stay safe.